Since I've come onto the job, I've been doing a lot of learning about all of the different geographies and how they experience PVZ, and I have learned that Latin America and like the South America has a tremendous love and respect for PVZ.
I know Nick wants to answer that one first. I can see his shaking his head.
Look, it's an interesting one. So, I mean, like, okay. So the music has remained untouched because, to your point, like it's got this really interesting sort of haunting but absurd and charming very quality to it as well. I would say the thing that is also, it's been reimagined but not really, is that the art has been updated, and so like sort of our philosophical line around the game itself or the art itself is that we wanted the game to feel as you remember it. And so like I think there's a lot of times when you go back to remasters and you play it, and you play it and you go like, it's just like the first time, but then you go back and you look at the old game, you're like, that is not what the game looked like anymore. And so, we sat down and we had the artists go back actually to the old source files and actually like go back over the old source files and like bring them up to parity with that. So like that is technically like reimagined to some extent, but really just updated and brought into 4K. I guess the other part of it from like a reimagining perspective is that we had a variety of different there are many different PVZ ones, and so we have taken elements of different PVZ ones that we from the community and from what we in our hearts felt were the most emblematic of PVZ, and we've mashed them together and we've created what we believe is like the PVZ one for sort of the new generation. Jake, you have anything you want to add there, bud?
Well, I mean, just to the heart of the question, I think we have deep admiration for PVZ as a game, the original, the OG, if you will, and I think we really took this very seriously in terms of making sure that we preserved its charm, making sure that we preserved its just fun nature of its gameplay, the way it unfolds to you. So we didn't approach this like we wanted to interject a bunch of our own ideas and maybe if we changed this and made it a little harder, that could be cool. We didn't want to do any of that. We really wanted to do the OG product justice by just bringing it forward, beautifying it, so to speak, but also in its style, and just making sure that we did everything we could to try to bring what I think is really a timeless classic. It's nearly a perfect game for me, and making sure that we bring that. So for we know we have a lot of fans that are excited to play it, that either grew up with this or love this game and this franchise, but we also really believe that taking this effort will also help introduce this game to a whole new generation of PvZ fans. So so we've worked really hard to preserve it. I love the way you described it too. We have fans of PvZ everywhere. It's a global phenomenon. It's really, really fun to do something that we think is going to make people all around the world really happy. That's actually like we believe in it. This game will make people around the world happy. That's a really cool opportunity for us. You go, Nick, or you want to go?
You go. I always like playing the color commentary on this one. So.
Okay, yeah. So I think there was a lot of things. So we've been we're always thinking about PvZ. What are we going to do with it? We've got lots of fans, as we talked about a couple times here already, and they tell us lots of things. And one of the things we've heard from them is they really would love to have a version of this game on modern consoles. And so there's that. I think also, though, we're not foolish to understand that people really love nostalgia. We love to go back to things that we loved. I've described this a couple of times as like, this is kind of like a comfort video game. So it's the idea of the comfort movie, the movie you put on all the time that you always have it there in the background. This is kind of like a comfort game experience. So the time for us feels right. I mean, we can also talk a little bit about I think we're being diligent about trying to support some anniversaries. We just had our Sweet 16 anniversary. Here in the United States, we celebrate Sweet 16. So there's that timing in and around there too. But I think it just felt right. We are really trying to go back to our roots as a game studio. I know Nick can talk at length about this, but this game feels like a real opportunity for us to put to plant a seed. We do a lot of bad plant jokes. To plant the seed again and see this bloom. Yeah, what do you think, Nick?
I mean, look, a part of this also is that, games also don't just we don't just wake up and we're like, let's make a remaster. It takes some time to line up, and so it's actually been cooking for a little bit. This just is the year that it kind of everything came together. But, my first time ever playing a mobile game was actually Plants vs. Zombies. So being able to actually deliver this and being able to put it into people's hands and remaster it alongside Jake is super exciting. But I think also we've been working really hard over the course of this year, and you're going to see it over the next few months. There's a number of things that we've been cooking up with PopCap more broadly. And so while we're here to talk about Replanted, we also think this is a good time to be delivering it, because Replanted is a good way for us to say, PopCap and PVZ, it's not dead. It's a way for us to say hey, this is the brand, this is the re-anchoring of it. We're putting a post in the ground and saying pay attention, there is more stuff coming. And so it's a good way for us to come back to folks and say, hey, remember this thing? Remember how much you loved it? Well, now you get to experience it with your kids, your family. You get to re-experience it, and be on the lookout. You're going to see more from us in PVZ soon. We're here to talk about Replanted, but what I would say is there's some other things that we are cooking up in regards to Plants vs. Zombies, and hopefully we'll be talking again soon about what some of those other things look like.
There's no shortage of super fans that have hopes and dreams, for sure. One of the things that's been really fun about this journey is that we announced Replanted, and it was a steady stream of people asking for their dream experiences inside this universe, which I think just speaks to the appeal of PVZ again as a brand. People can see it as lots of different things, right? And it's so cool that way. Well, I think again, the toughest parts of this game were, you mentioned 2009, so I don't know when they started development on it, but I'm guessing it was many years before that. So there is some technical challenges there that come along with taking something built in a whole other era and modernizing it for current platforms. So there were a lot of technical challenges that we had to face getting through that, and then really to get things to this visual fidelity that I think that people expect these days on these consoles. We really had to go in and take every asset and by hand retouch them in a way that brings them up and makes them stunning on modern consoles. We have a super passionate development team working on this. I would say a lot of these questions can how did we get it done? They can all fall back to, we have a really great team, and we're super proud to have them working so hard on this. And they've worked really diligently to just get us to a place where we feel really proud of the way it looks. I've heard that you've been playing, I don't know what platform, I'm assuming you're playing a PC build, and I think you can attest probably that visually it looks really good. We get a chance to play it on all the platforms, and whether it's PlayStation 5 or Switch 2 or PS4 or Xbox, it looks great on all of them. We're really delivering, I think, what the expectation is for a modern gamer to see this game on next-gen platforms. And then, when it comes to the, we know tastes have changed with things like difficulty. We've got some things in there that players can use to increase difficulty, things like they can change the game speed. We've got a mode called Rest in Peace mode that's a permadeath mode that we're continuing to work on, actually, even on and beyond the build that you have, which is aimed at making things more difficult. But I just always want to come back to the main thing. We were not going to differentiate the core gameplay of PVZ, because that's where the magic is. That some things are timeless, right? They transcend generations. Mm-hmm. And we think that gameplay that was really good in 2009 is still really good in, what are we in, 2025? Yeah.
But what year is it? Where are we? Who are we?
So I mean, I think that gameplay holds up, and so that's really, we're excited about it.
I would say that Jake hit on something that's a pretty significant creative tension in thinking about this project overall, which is how do you keep the thing that I think is sort of considered a perfect game in a lot of ways, but also modernize it. And I mean, I think like to your point, like we're really aware of generationally, like we're post Souls-like, right? Like Souls-like games happened, roguelike games happen, like truly like mechanically difficult games happened, and then like furthermore, PvZ, it's generationally, it is a distillation of the real-time strategy game. So like, how do we make sure that it's still accessible to families and young folks, still has a nostalgic feel, but then also like, how do we meet that? And I mean, I think Jake answered it, which is like, we've made sure to preserve the core experience, but we've also added the co-op, the PvP from from the Xbox 360 work, right? But we've also made sure to add in Cloudy Day, which I will say, like all of our interviewers that had Cloudy Day, there was definitely a moment where like this is the same but very different. And then we also, a number of people like looked at Rest in Peace, and they actually gave us the feedback. They're like, I like it, but it can be harder. And so we're actually spending some cycles with the devs after the fact, kind of looking at it and saying like, what does it mean for us to make this a bit harder? So how do we preserve the core? How does it still meet that? How do we still meet that bar of it's as I remember it, but then also give you some new surprises as well? And so it's a difficult line to walk, right?
Geez, if we go back to the room with the whiteboard, we had all kinds of crazy ideas up there. And I think that as we deliberated all those ideas, that kind of North Star that we talked about evolved, which is like, we need to stay really true to this original experience. So what are the simple ways that we can impact this game? And I think Weather just felt like one that was like right there. This game is kind of built around some pretty, some simple principles that are pretty cool. The sun falls out of the sky. That's like important. The sun comes out of your sunflowers. That's critical. So like, hey, how could we kind of goof around with that and make that feel a little more challenging? And then when we started playing some of the early like prototypes of that mode, it just felt like, oh, this is natural. It also works within the existing toolkit, so to speak. The kind of the core of the game that's there, and so it felt like something that we could take a shot at without again doing too much differentiation. And so then that mode has evolved to be super fun. It's way strategic. It provides really interesting tension when the clouds come over, and then you're trying to figure out how to manage your sun economy. And then also my favorite moment in the game happens. The sunflowers go to sleep, and every time I go, God, that is so cute. So I think we did actually bring one new little bit of charm, and that's sleeping sunflowers into the game. So that was that. And then I think Rest in Peace, the idea was we knew that there were going to be people that really wanted something just incredibly challenging. And so the way that we could do that was creating a permadeath mode. And so that's in there, and that's exciting. It's fun. It's got some new visuals of its own. Crazy Dave, I don't know if you've had a chance to play it, but he picks a handful of your plants to start, and so that means that you're kind of, he's not picking maybe the best plants for each environment that you're in, and so it gives you a bit of a challenge. And if you can't complete a level, you have to go all the way back to the beginning. So again, after all the ideas and all the things on the whiteboard, we kind of settled on those two as things that felt like meaningful additions for this game.
I think especially when it comes to, well, I just want to add one piece of color. I think especially when it comes to Cloudy Day mode, I attach a lot to, because I think it falls a lot inside of like the broader brand tenets that exist around Plants vs. Zombies, which is like, it's the real world, but twisted. And so, a lot of times we'll lean into things that, like rain or regular seasons, but how are they different? How do they change, etc. And then how do you put a twist on it, right? And so like, then the sunflowers fall asleep or something else changes. And so a lot of times we find these inspirations in real world things, and then how does it change by virtue of being in Plants vs. Zombies or through the lens of Neighborville. And so I think that's also like, as we built out Cloudy Day, we looked at it through that lens as well. Okay. I was actually aware of that, and that's only because since I've come onto the job, I've been doing a lot of learning about all of the different geographies and how they experience PvZ, and I have learned that Latin America and like the South America has a tremendous love and respect for PvZ. I've also learned a lot about China's experience with it as well, and that's not to take away from our conversation here, but like, yeah, there's a lot of love for it, and that like, yeah, PvZ shows up quite a bit, and I have to tell you, obviously, and I don't want to be an ugly American, I live in America, so I think about it from an American's perspective. And then you see people, again, like I saw the piñatas, I was like, we're missing out. America's boring. We need the piñatas. Like that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I just think it's so cool that that folks have love for this thing all everywhere. It's neat. It's like it transcends cultures, and it certainly speaks to people in similar ways. And I think people express themselves through it differently, but I think there's something common there, which I think is just like laughter or joy or things that are cute. I think is universal, maybe. Yeah, 100%. I think we looked at that and said, this is the type of feature that belongs in this game. It's meant to be experienced with other people. In those modes and specifically, but I think maybe what I'm saying is that the joy of PvZ is best when it's shared with other folks. When you get a chance, like I know Nick probably has stories about sharing PvZ with his kids. I know my kids are a little older than his, and I see them, and we want to play together. It's just it does that, and those modes are really fun too. I mean, that's the other thing, like. We were looking at what's really fun to play. Hey, this co-op that has been made is like really a lot of fun. And when you get a chance to sit down and play with somebody, whether it be your partner, your friend, your kids, it delivers a magical moment, for people. So I think that's really, really important. And I think, we can talk about the fact that we really do hope that, there's going to be people, well, and maybe I should let Nick tell this, but I think that there's a group of us that played PvZ that now maybe we have kids, and this is going to be our opportunity to share that with them, and to be able to sit down and do that together feels like a really special opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, Jake said it. I have 3 children. I have 3 children, and when they have some screen time, they very often sit down and play PvZ. So I'll admit, during COVID, one of my projects is I built an arcade machine with a friend. And my children play the arcade machine way more than me. And like sitting down and playing the arcade, there is something about shoulder to shoulder being next to somebody. And like, I think very true for PvZ. Jake and I shoulder to shoulder at PAX doing the demo, and just sitting there and giggling with your friend while we're doing walnut bowling or we're playing co-op and you're throwing butter on zombies. There is something about the nature of this wanting to have a really social experience with this. And sure, you can have a social experience with multiplayer, but I think for this one, and the spirit of the time and sort of the remaster and the era and the type of thing that we were trying to evoke, that's what we decided to do with this one. And it can be litigated a bunch of different ways, but that's what we thought made the most sense for this one.
Yeah, I think it's a great starting point for newcomers. I definitely think we're certainly aware of both groups of folks. We are, oftentimes guided by our hardest of the hardcore players because they're passionate about it and they have a lot of good ideas and a lot of thoughts. And we've seen a lot of their feedback and interest in this game, and that's super cool. And I feel like if we're delivering this game to that group of people, then that means that we're delivering something at a high level of quality, which I think really means that a new generation of people can come in and play it and enjoy it. But I will say the thing that has me, like I love all of our hardest of the hardcore folks, but I do know that, something that got me really excited was being able to see, 8-year-old, 9-year-olds, 10-year-old, 11-year-olds get a chance to play this game and look at it and go, whoa, that's so cool. Look at that and look at that and look at that. And that to me means that there is a new generation of folks. And then there's also the folks that we saw. So, we've had a chance to show everyone from grandparents to parents to young kids to high schoolers. And I remember this one guy came in to play Cloudy Day mode, and he had pre-ordered the game, so we were super excited to show him his pre-order item, and he was stoked about that. And he wanted to play Cloudy Day, and he sat down. I think he told us he was like 18, so he's an older kid, and he couldn't succeed. He did not succeed with Cloudy Day on his run, and we could only let him play one time. And he stood up and he turned to his dad and he's like, I know exactly what I'm going to do different on October 23rd when the game comes out. Not trying to shamelessly plug our release date, but it was really cool to see, this guy who was super familiar just be excited about what the future of the game holds. So I don't know, Nick, do you agree with me on that?
I mean, I do. I mean, so same thing. I mean, it was fun interacting with all the interviewers and the different outlets, but one of my favorite moments was, we were in between two and a family came in and the dad's like, oh my God, I played. He's like my age, and and he brought in his two boys. I would guess like 6 and 8 or something. And they just like pushed their way to the computer and watching these two brothers playing the co-op. And they're like, no, we want to do. And like, they were just having they were having fun. And like, our job is to be an entertainer, and like getting to see them and like experience it the way that like presumably we all did too. Like, that was great. And so, yeah, I think it absolutely connects with people, and I think people get super excited about it, and I think there's a lot of longevity to it. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think it will resonate with a lot of folks.
I guess just to put one last point on that one too, is the thing that's interesting about this game is that it transcends. It's like a lot of games are like, this is for older or younger kids. This game is for everybody from every age, name it. When you can pick up a stick, I don't know, 3 years old, all the way to 100. We see people that love this experience no matter where they are in their life cycle, and so that's really exciting. It's like, again, it transcends, culture, it transcends age, it transcends skill level, right? Like, your heart is the hardcore gamer that has macros and playing, World of Warcraft. They come in and they're like, this is so much fun. It's like, it's definitely, it crosses over a lot of different folks. So I already know I'd be Disco Zombie for sure, because I want to come onto the scene and have lights, and I want to get down with my bad self.
I mean, look, I will admit, like, I tend to kind of go, like, bigger is better, and so, like, Gargantuar always speaks to me in a lot of ways. I will say I always like the pole jumping zombie, or, like, I always name him wrong, but I always like the one that jumps over the walnut. Like, he's always a favorite of mine, too. Mostly because he's the one that you're like, I hate you, like, you're the one, I don't like him, like, it's... But wait. Which is yours? You have to tell us now.
I think newspaper zombie.
Yeah?
I will be super angry if you burn my paper.
Yeah, there you go. That makes sense.
I will tell you the funniest thing about the newspaper zombie that I can actually that's the most relatable zombie to me. And I'll tell you why. It's not because he loses newspaper. It's the next time when his glasses fly off, at least in Walnut Bowling. Okay. And I've had that happen to me a handful of times. I wear glasses and I can't see a thing without them, so I can really relate to the glasses flying off, and then I think at that point he dies. So I just feel like I can really relate to that zombie.